Imagine waking up at 2:45 in the morning, starting your truck, only to realize someone's stolen your catalytic converter. You feel that rage in your chest, the helplessness. But instead of calling the cops, I decided to get creative. And trust me, by the end of this story, you'll see how two wannabe criminals lost everything they had, while I sat back and watched it burn. If you've ever wanted to dish out justice to someone who wronged you, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in, because this isn't just revenge, it's poetic justice at its finest. It was a quiet morning, the kind of silence that only exists in those dark hours before dawn. I fired up my truck at 2:45 a.m., expecting nothing more than the grumble of the engine to break the silence. Instead, what I heard was wrong. Too loud, too hollow. My stomach dropped. I knew instantly what had happened. My catalytic converter, gone. I remember standing there in my driveway, the cold air biting my skin, fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. My mind raced. Who would do this? Why me? It felt like a punch to the gut, not just because of the cost, but the sheer audacity. Someone had come into my world, stolen from me, and thought they could just get away with it. But what they didn't realize was that they picked the wrong guy. Turns out, these weren't criminal masterminds. Nope, they were just two local idiots, kids really, who drove around in a beat-up ex-police Crown Victoria, the kind of car that rattled with every bump, windows vibrating from a trashy sound system, blasting bass so distorted it could crack teeth. They spent their days loitering outside a run-down chicken shack, smoking who knows what, laughing like they owned the world. And here's the kicker, they weren't even subtle. They missed my neighbor's security cameras, which caught them red-handed, clear as day. So now I had a choice, call the cops or handle this my own way. And oh, I had a plan. See, that Crown Vic they drove around in, it wasn't even street legal. No plates, no insurance, busted taillights. It hadn't been registered since 2011. They basically stole a junk car to drive around like wannabe gangsters. And me? Well, I had a friend in code enforcement. I gave him a call, laid out my plan. He relayed everything to the police, who gave me the green light. So one morning, I spotted the Crown Vic parked on a quiet street, probably abandoned after another night of their nonsense. My heart was pounding, hands sweating as I picked up my phone. This was it. I called it in. And then I towed it. Not just anywhere, straight to the police station. When the cops ran the VIN, it came back to some poor soul who hadn't touched the car in over a decade. The kids had bought it with no title, probably because of all the back registration fees. It wasn't theirs. Legally, it belonged to no, which meant the cops gave me the sweetest order I'd ever heard. Take it to the junkyard. Now picture this. The two idiots wake up, probably still smelling of grease and cheap cigarettes, only to find their beloved Crown Vic gone. Panic set in. They ran around town, convinced one of their friends had stolen it as a prank. You could almost hear the desperation in their voices, see the sweat dripping down their necks as they tried to figure it out. When they finally tracked it down at the junkyard, things got even better. They tried to steal it back. One distracted the yard owner, while the other tried to start the car. But the junkyard owner was smarter than they were. He knew exactly who they were. So he'd already cut the drive shaft off, making the car impossible to drive. The cops were called, and both of them were arrested on the spot. But the best part? Oh, I didn't want to miss this show. I watched as a giant crane lifted that Crown Vic into the air. For a moment, it dangled like a toy, helpless and pathetic. And then, crunch! The machine tore it apart piece by piece. Metal screamed as the frame twisted. Doors ripped clean off, glass shattering like brittle bones. Within minutes, it was nothing but a mangled skeleton. I stood there, watching the destruction, and I swear I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. All that anger, that frustration, that sense of being violated, gone. Because justice had been served. The two idiots eventually got out of jail, but they weren't the same. I drove past their trailer one day, curtains drawn, lights off, like they were hiding from the world. But here's the cherry on top. I spotted a beater Jeep Liberty in their driveway. No plates. Same nonsense all over again. And you'd better believe I've already got the cops on speed dial. Next time, I won't miss the show. Watching that crane tear their precious car apart, it wasn't just metal being destroyed. It was their arrogance, their entitlement, their belief they could steal from people without consequences. Piece by piece, crushed into nothing. And I can't lie, it was the most satisfying sound I've ever heard. Some people think they can take whatever they want from others, but life has a way of teaching lessons the hard way. For these guys, karma didn't just knock on the door, it drove a crane right through it. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and drop a comment. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories where justice gets served in the sweetest way possible.